Hello, AV friends, and welcome to HETMA Presents Chair to Chair, the podcast where I sit down with the incredible leaders driving innovation and community within HETMA, the Higher Education Technology Managers Alliance. I'm Erin Maher-Moran, chair of HETMA's board of directors, and I'm excited to bring you into conversations that go beyond the day-to-day of technology management. In each episode, we'll explore not just what our committee chairs do for HETMA, but who they are as people, professionals, and leaders. We'll dive into their career journeys, the moments that shape their perspectives, and the vision that drives their work in higher education technology. Most importantly, we'll connect their stories to the themes and challenges that matter most to our community right now. Whether you're a longtime HETMA member or considering getting more involved or simply just curious about the people who dedicate their time to advancing our professions, these conversations are for you. So settle in and let's go chair to chair. And in the chair today, I have Brittney Grant from Ames Community College, who is HETMA's approved program committee chair. Thank you for chatting with me today.
Absolutely. I love sitting down chatting.
Right. Chitty chatties.
Yeah.
So this month's theme is Life is a Highway. Build a system. Positive, repeatable habits generate long-term success. Define processes in your work or team that improves outcomes and enhances collaboration. So I thought it made sense to have Brittney on this episode since the approved program has kind of been one of the HETMA initiatives that has needed the most defined process and kind of has come kind of the farthest since it's been a thing. So, but before we really get into that, I wanted to start off with your own journey. Like, how did you get into higher education technology and what drew you to your current role at Ames?
Yeah. I want to say it all started back in high school. No, it actually kind of did. I was involved in high school theater and did kind of background work there. Didn't really get into the tech side of things. More was like assistant stage manager and different things. And there's some stories back there, but we won't touch on those today. But then got involved with my church's tech team. Was there on I want to say a Thursday night service of sorts, and just the worship pastor came by and said, "Hey, I need somebody to run camera. Can you do that?" And I was like, maybe. So I guess rose to the occasion of that and sat in the chair and just lightly followed the pastor around the stage, and thankfully he didn't move much. But yeah, so that kind of jump started things, and then I went into hitting the go button on lights. So I didn't program any of the lights or anything like that, but just kind of was the day of go button monkey of sorts. And then I stayed there for a really long time, and my tech director stepped in and was like, "Hey, you can do better. You can do different." And so started putting me in different things and training me and setting me up. And now almost we finally put a time frame on it actually last night at an event. And it's been about 20 years that he and I have been working together. So I was like, yeah, you professionally raised me, so to speak. So I started fairly young and just got super involved, and then forgot that tech in a sense could be an adult job for a long time, and so went into healthcare and manufacturing and just a whole lot of different things, and drove Lyft for a handful of years and just did a lot of random stuff. And then COVID hit, and a little bit before that I got pulled into the theater again to help as the tech director at the church changed over to the theater. And so just kind of followed him, and he knew my background, and so he knew what I needed to be trained up in at the theater, and knew that I could do it. And so that started me on the track there, and got into the cameras, got into a bunch of different things, and kind of got right before January of 2020, I got promoted into assistant stage manager there. And then COVID hit and we laid off about 55 people. And I was one of the 3 people brought back later that year to do basically an entire season and ran this entire theater. I did stick mostly with camera work on that. And then we had one lighting person, one audio person, and one person down on stage. And that was pretty much what we did until we started slowly building back our team. And now that theater is currently sitting at about, I think we're about 20, 25 people pretty solidly, which is really nice. We have a really good crew. Just about every client that comes through really enjoys working with us, both nationally and our local like dance teams and different stuff and little kids theater. But during that time, I decided to go back to school, and I had already started a degree here at Ames back when I graduated after I graduated high school, and from there I just started taking classes and got plugged into the TV production course and realized I don't want to do TV production. That's not for me. I don't mind directing in that sense, but no, I'm definitely more of a live event side of things, and yeah, I really enjoy show calling and different aspects of that is what I learned. And then as I graduated, during that time I was also the Student Government Association's Vice President of Facilities and Operations. And so that's quite the mouthful. The shortened version of that is not much better. It's SGA's VP of F&O. None of it is short. None of it is smooth. It definitely does not roll off the tongue. And I've been saying that for almost 4 years now in different parts of the story. But I basically got to watch the building that I'm sitting in now, the Welcome Center, get built from a shell all the way up. And I was the first student to graduate across the stage at May of 2022. And yeah, they opened up the job and I applied, and here I am 3 years later.
That's amazing. It's so funny how all of our journeys into the AV space kind of usually takes a couple of twists and turns. But
Yeah.
I can't blame you for not wanting to get into TV, because I feel like there's just something about that you get one take.
But see, that's what I like about live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is TV, it's like you have in a sense the opportunity to kind of get that second take in a
Yeah.
recording style.
There's kind of a
But
weird
that is,
repetition to it,
yeah, and I
and
didn't like that where
you don't
it,
get that.
yeah, and where in live events it's like either we do it or we don't. We do it live and it turns out great, or we trip and fall and flop, or it's great. And it all kind of comes down to the people you work with, and it's definitely that team, and that's something that I'm trying to, as the kids say, hold space for. And never felt older in my life as I just said that. Anyway, no, just being able to know that it's your team that is what, in a sense, can make or break you.
No, absolutely.
So,
So when you think about your kind of like early on in your career,
mhm.
at least at Ames, um, like what systems or processes did you have to learn the hard way?
Everything. There was nothing, and to a certain extent, there isn't anything still, and that's one of the hardest things that I'm still trying to learn and wrap my brain around is there wasn't anything. There isn't anything that, and we're trying to make it, and it's a current conversation that we've been having about different aspects of things that is very frustrating. There are certain things that we have not touched in my entire time here that are continuously being brought up as like, well, it happens all the time. Well, yeah, we don't do that. And I hate saying that's not my job and I can't do that or no. And because I will always do what I can to make an event the best that it can be, but there are things that will limit that. And I think that is one of the more frustrating things is the limitations of this, because we didn't have those processes set up, and now we're 3.5, 4 years in, and we're still trying to make that stance, and that is in a sense really hard to say and admit on a recording, if I'm being real honest about it, because it almost doesn't feel real. I don't feel like I'm what I can be. So,
But yeah, it's sometimes it's a matter of just where you happen to be right now,
right,
and that
and
the external factors are kind of holding.
right, and there wasn't, and that's the thing that I do have to remind myself of, is there wasn't anybody here, in a sense, in these positions at this scale, at this level. We've always been, at Ames has always been more of a contractor, come in and do things, not we take ownership of it, and that's what it was supposed to be. But our original integrators did such a poor job for one reason or another. You could say COVID, you could say people, you could just so many different excuses that you could throw at it that would be completely legitimate. But what it came down to is there was nothing, and we were left to our own devices on both our side as well as certain other teams that were fairly new in development. And so to a certain extent, we are reorganizing the train at full speed. I know I've said that before, but it's
Welcome
still
to
that
HETMA.
way. Well, and to a certain extent, yes, but also I am understanding that there is a little bit of that in every space, but it's the being listened to. And I think at times they see us sitting. I'm trying to make like allegories of all these things that are happening all over the place and like bringing it together. But it's like I think at a certain time, they certain powers that be see certain people just sitting around and they're like, oh, they're not doing anything. They could be doing X, Y, Z, and it's like, no. I am actually doing A, B, C, because just because I'm not doing it is to a certain extent, you have employed me for my expertise. I have contingency plans A, B, C, D, all the way down to Z. If something goes wrong, I have all of that cycling. I'm ready to jump. And when that happens, we need all hands on deck. I have been that very skinny crew of 3 people running a 1,600 seated auditorium. Granted, we couldn't seat that many in the middle of all of that, but it was still like, I can run a skeleton crew. Is that the best for quality of production? No. Right. Is it the best for quality of life? No. If we want to be an industry-worthy place to work and be, is that what we hold ourselves to? No. So if you see someone in a sense sitting, they're probably not just sitting. I'm going through and I'm listening to the room speakers. I'm listening to what's going on. Is there a disturbance happening over there? Is this all going in the way that it should be going? And that's kind of coming from my stage management background, and directing and different things, and being able to take all of that input in and coordinate as we go and be on the fly. So with all that, lovely. The train of thought has derailed and there were no survivors.
No, I get it. But yeah, I totally feel you when there's like can we do that? Sure. Should we? Absolutely not.
Is us doing this going to set a standard to do it again? Yeah. And that is always, I will always go veer on the side of don't.
Yeah, no, because then that's a bad habit that you can't break. So we need to be getting those good habits going and taking care of the people and making sure building the proper systems, not the ones that are going to break us all down.
Right.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
Do you personally have any like daily or weekly habits that like keep you going? They're great for your productivity, your effectiveness, or just keeping it together?
Um, I would say yes. There are definitely certain things that I find myself doing. And if I don't do some things that it's like, I definitely feel that misstep. Um, but sometimes it's different. I'm not currently diagnosed with anything, in the neurospicy range, but there's some probably pretty good indicators
The signs
that
were there.
yeah. So I am trying to take steps into getting some of like clarification on, is it just dyslexia? Is it just fill in the blank? But there are so many things where it's like that I do need a little bit of structure. I can do things. I can be self-propelled, but it is very much I I like to touch base. I like to make sure I'm on the same page. I like to not try to step too far out of the bounds. I don't mind pushing boundaries to a point, but there is that. So it's like being able to check in on my phone or being able to step back for a few minutes and like take a deep breath and sit with either a book or an album or something of that sort of like that, those comfort things, and being able to reset kind of where my brain is, what is good. And there's been a lot of shakeup in my personal life in the last calendar year. And so that being said, is I have a lot more house and a lot more yard to deal with at this point. And so trying to figure out how that works with me not being a green thumb. So that's been a fun thing of trying to figure out of how do I need help, and where can I utilize that help that's not always, hey, come save me. Hey, come do this thing. What can I take of like this tool helps, that tool helps, and like being able to break things down in that sense. So it's
Yeah,
a
it sounds
lot of
like
weird
you
structure right now.
right, but it sounds like you're kind of trying to keep the balance of structure and process, but also the need to kind of stay flexible because things
Hmm.
are going to go off the rails. And,
At any
but,
time.
right, but then you can still revert back, course correct, and get back into the structure
Right.
and
And
process.
there are
But
definitely certain things, and I don't mind saying this or bringing it up, but my iron is significantly low at this point, and so that's one of those things that, like the brain fog, when I forget things, the word loss, the train derailing, like all of these things make sense once I got that part of what's been going on in my life understood. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, now we need to refigure that out. Oh, that's not going to be for 3+ months if everything goes correctly, which it's not, which is fine. There's more steps involved. We're working on it. Bodies are weird.
right.
Just
And then I go and ask you to be on a podcast like relatively last minute with zero preparation.
oh,
That
that
is
we're flexible.
perfection.
We do what we can.
Right. But yeah, it's awesome to have two ladies on that are going through some stuff that might very well just brain
It's
take a
gone.
vacay mid sentence.
If I go glossy over the eyes, just the train will come back around. The next
Right.
one will be a
Eventually,
few
it pulls
minutes.
back into the station.
Yeah, and then that rabbit hole will get reaccessed in maybe 5 minutes, but we'll work back around to it. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Circle back always.
Always circle back.
Right. So let's transition a little bit into talking about the approved program.
Yes.
Um, so for our, listeners who might not be familiar with, can you explain what the HETMA approved program actually is and why it matters?
The approved program was created to provide a service to evaluate products through the lens of higher ed tech managers. And we have a diverse pool of people across our membership that are able to allow different perspectives, and that shapes the outcome of any approval. So it is able to just bring products through and either get them in front of people that have never seen some of these things before or are looking into what's the best for classroom capture or different things, and different programs that help with, or different program applications that work with that. And we all work with higher ed, and so within higher ed. And so, yeah, it is definitely blossoming into more of not just hands-on technology. It's a lot of software and a lot of different things like that. So we are in a little bit of trying to figure out how all of this works in these different ways. But yeah, it's definitely just to both give us and manufacturers kind of a list of what works in higher ed and what doesn't. And if it doesn't work in higher ed, that doesn't mean we just drop you and say no good. You have the opportunity to come back and try again. We're not just going to shun you for having one bad run at something. And our industry is always shifting and always changing by what the manufacturers are doing. And in that sense, what we're shifting with is what they're shifting with. And so it is kind of that hand holding of what do you need? What can we provide? And that what would make, in a sense, in both ways, what makes your job easier and what makes my job easier? Because we're not going to buy one thing, we're going to buy hundreds on the average.
Absolutely.
So
you want that confidence that
yeah, and
it's going to work in your setup, in your scenario.
Right. And if there's manufacturers out there that are more than willing to step in and help with that and be that partner, as higher ed tech managers, we should know that.
And for anybody who is a higher ed tech manager who happens to be listening to this, and if you love to try out gear, please sign up to become one of our evaluators. We are always looking for more people to test
Absolutely.
out gear.
And we got so many cool things coming down the pike right now that I am very excited for.
Excellent. Yeah. So what attracted you to run for the approved chair position?
I was helping out behind the scenes a little bit with some of the admin things, which is something that I'm more than enjoy doing. But there is definitely a lot more to it than what I was doing before, and I liked that, but it's definitely it's a growth opportunity, and being able to step into it and bring a little bit of a different structure to it in different ways and we're spread across a handful of different websites in a sense on keeping things organized both in the email and in Monday and in there's one more that I'm missing off the top of my head.
But yeah,
I
so
don't know.
that's it.
But
So is that a kind of a system, if you will, that you've tried to put in place to ensure consistency and quality in how we evaluate?
it's definitely been and Dustin and Donovan did excellent work leading up to it, and the processes that they did are definitely really good foundations. I'm just trying to come in and tweak some of the things that maybe hopefully will help things be organized better as we move forward, because there's a lot of product trying to come through and do these different things, and we do have a lot of people that are on a lot of the same evaluations. And so the more people that we can get, the better diversity that we can have in the perspectives, so that we can see, is it really higher ed approved, or is it just these few schools, which isn't bad either, because that does give us a cross section. But we are definitely we are a very diverse group, and we are looking to showcase that within this. And so just trying to organize and keep things in different ways that hopefully will be able to have communication be better and easier, and just be able to touch base better and kind of get a pulse on what's happening.
Yeah. And so can you tell me about maybe a time when having a clear process has really paid off in this role?
I don't know if there's a clear one yet, but that doesn't mean there isn't the opportunity coming up. As again, there are still a lot of ones that are in the works from when I took over. And so it's just trying to bring those to a wrap and a conclusion as we're all volunteers and in different stages of evaluation and trying to get all of those evaluations back in and all of the different aspects of that. And so I would say we're not quite at a clear snapshot of it, but just being able to organize all of my evaluators in an email list and different things are definitely helping kind of step into that in a more structured way.
And so how, like, what is your, what would your approach be when you need to get buy-in from different people, different stakeholders and whatnot for a new system or a process?
I don't know. It's yeah, I'm
We could cut that
drawing
out.
a drawing a blank. Email them,
Right? Be like,
set up a Zoom call. No,
yeah. I know it's tough, especially when you have, when you're dealing with a group that's fully virtual, like,
yeah, and trying to coordinate all those things.
yeah. So absolutely would be a challenge.
Yeah, but that is part of the volunteer aspect of this. So,
Right. Well, all right. Let's talk a little bit about leadership and process design. So what would you say is the most challenging aspect of creating a system within something that involves so many different people from different organizations?
it's the trial and error. It's the trial in and error by fire. Uh, it is the organizing a train at full speed. It's sometimes you're gonna miss a step, sometimes it's not all gonna be sunshine and roses, and so that's something that not everyone is gonna be thrilled with every outcome, and that's mediating expectations, I guess, is
Right. Yes. I feel like that is a lot. I feel like of what I do within HETMA and within my own organization, it's just trying to manage those expectations and fail forward. Because
yeah.
it's inevitable. Like,
And sometimes it is two steps back and one step forward. Like you may be back closer to where you started, but you tried something and found out it didn't work. And so that's one of 1,000 wrongs down, leading towards that. Hopefully it doesn't take 1,000, but being able to just trial and error, try and change again.
yeah. So how do you know when a process is working well versus when it needs to be refined or changed?
And in this current setup, I don't know that I quite have the data points to back it up yet.
And
But
recognizing that fact is
yeah,
important.
it's I think there are some things that could work really, really well, but it's definitely and you don't want to bombard people's emails and different things. So it is creating that balance of what is necessary communication and what is over communication. And I am known to be an over communicator, so I try to reel that back a lot
Yeah.
in this.
I know for myself, it's one of those, like, anytime I get negative feedback or something, I always immediately am like, okay, let's fix this. But I have found that I have to be like, okay, nope, pump the brakes. Let's gather more data. Let's figure out, is this a one-off? Is this a knee-jerk? Am I just knee-jerk reacting to something? Or is this really something that needs to be changed? And then I feel like half the time it's like, oh yeah, no, that was a one-off. This is fine. But
Yeah.
then other times then the rest of the time it's like, okay, that's legit. Let's fix this.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to recognize that, because when you get that feedback, you're like, oh, need to fix, need to do something.
Yep.
But sometimes it's,
And in a certain sense, I also I'm in the middle of something of that I got told that I didn't meet somebody's expectations in the way that they wanted to, and I take that data point and I will file it away, but at this point, there are too many data points in the other direction for me. So
Right.
I'm taking it as a one-off.
So what advice would you give to someone who's trying to implement better systems in their work or team?
I think I would definitely say that as hard as it is to do, and as hard as it is for me to do, and to say this out loud, it's okay to fall. So it's okay to fail. It's okay to have a moment of that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Let's try again. And sometimes that is all the way back to ground zero, which those are hard. A lot of times it's not though. It's come back a few steps. Try again. So you'll never get it right. Almost never get it right the first time. And if you do, you probably had some luck on your side. Someone was up to bat for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So nothing is perfect first, like at any point really. So you're always striving for perfection, and we're never going to reach it.
Oh yeah.
But
You
it's
have to give yourself the grace to
right. But we can
let the
always
chips fall
strive.
and then you fix them later.
Yeah, it's one foot in front of the other and wake up and try again tomorrow.
So looking at successful systems or programs that you've worked with in the past, what are like common things or habits that they had that kind of made them work or made them more successful?
In a sense, I would say rigid structure with the ability to flex.
Right? Seems like an oxymoron, but
It does.
I totally understand.
But I mean, we build skyscrapers in earthquake-prone places all the time, and we're always finding better ways to do it. So there is a physically structural way to do it. And yeah, it's not going to work every time. There will still be buildings that come down, unfortunately, and that's going to be that in internal structures as well of what we have, what we build at our colleges, what we build at our universities, what we build within HETMA, that sometimes may have to be taken down to the studs and try again.
So, is there a process that you've implemented at any time for anything that you're the most proud of?
I wish I had had this question previously so I could think about it longer. Because I feel like there is some things that that have come down to it, like something that I said or implemented or tried to do. But nothing is coming to mind right now.
That's all good. That's all good.
Yeah.
So is there for anybody who might be listening to this, what's one small thing that someone could implement like this week that could make a difference for them?
Something that I think would make a difference would be just
Right, you're like, it's
I
there.
would so I it
it's
both
right-
is and
it's right
isn't.
there.
I feel like I'm in the middle of too many volatile things that I don't know that any of my own processes are. I don't know that I feel like I can talk on to it right now because I'm so in the trenches. So and in that sense,
maybe that's one thing
Yeah.
that somebody could do is take a step back.
yeah. So I would
And-
say acknowledge where you are within the process of things, and if you are so far in the trenches that you can't see the small things, the small bonuses, the small good points, that take a step back, take a deep breath. This too shall pass. None of this will matter in 100 years. It's as my mentor says, I'm only here part-time. It may be 40 hours a week. It may be more. But this is only part of my life. So I'm only here part-time. So that again, may be qualified as full-time for somebody else, but that is, I spend part of my day here and I spend part of my day somewhere else. Be that home, be that the theater, be that with friends. So nothing is ever 100%. Nothing is ever concrete enough to not break. So good or bad. And
Yeah,
restructure is not always a bad thing.
true. Very true. So looking ahead, how do you see the HETMA approved program evolving to better serve our community?
I think we definitely need to get more people involved, and I think with our steps towards 10K, we will definitely there will definitely be a bigger pool. I think part of it is there are manufacturers finding out that it's not a no from us or a this isn't working, this isn't approved yet. Doesn't mean that it's not a bad product. It's just maybe not specifically for higher ed, which it not everything is. And
Yeah.
as long as people are okay hearing that, and maybe shifting and changing into what could be, having that flexibility in a sense. And yeah, because I mean we have so many different layers of security within our own stuff that there are things that are well known that a lot of people can't have on campuses for XYZ because it is not as stable or structurally ready to go. So
Understandable.
it's we're not saying you have a bad product. We're not saying yours is the only product. We're just saying you are an option and you may not be the best option for us. So
So, what what excites you the most about the about the potential for improvement in our field?
the sky's the limit. There are so many neat and cool things and so many mundane things that are coming out and doing different things. From power to fantastic displays that can do all these magical things and just that everything is an opportunity to grow in different ways. So it's not all linear in a sense. It's definitely definitely a roller coaster. Little bit of a loop de loop. So we're always tracking up to a certain extent, but at the moment we might be tracking down.
But either way, it'll
Either
be
way,
it'll be a good ride.
there'll be another hill in the future.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, what's one thing you wish people understood about the power of a good process or good habits?
Um, that it really can make a difference. Like it in the core process of and some processes are there to protect your people and to protect your peace. And some are there strictly for function of it has to be this way. Signal flow has to go here to here to here to here to be a thing. You can't go here to loop around and over to here. It just doesn't work like that. So there are some things that are for peace of mind and there are things strictly for function. And that does not take your emotion into consideration.
Right? Yeah. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not about how you're feeling.
No.
It is that is how it works.
Yeah. And even if it is about feeling, not everything is supposed to make you feel good.
That's a good reminder. Yeah. All right. Well, how can our listeners get involved with the HETMA Approved program if they want to?
Yeah, I will make sure that it is posted well, but you can always email me at approvedprogram@hetma.org, or there'll be a form in different places to sign up to be an evaluator, or if you're a manufacturer, there will be forms around for you to sign up and submit your projects or your products into that, and Atkins and I and everybody else will be in touch.
Fantastic. And how can people connect with you if they want
Yes.
to
If you so
be
choose,
part of your
I am on the LinkedIn. I am on Instagram. Instagram handle is at BT for him. There may be an underscore in there somewhere. I don't know. I don't give that one out often. And there's not a lot on it. It's probably just my cat and some beer and maybe some baked goods.
I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
fantastic to me, but
And I'm back in a really great kitchen, so there's probably more baked goods coming down the line on that. So yeah. And yeah, LinkedIn and Instagram is pretty much where I hang out most of the time. So
okay. Well, yeah, and also if you are on the HETMA's Mighty Network, there's always places to have conversations there and plenty of info about the approved program, how you can get involved, and also there is a little special place that you can click and it will bring you to where the list of all of the approved products are.
yes.
So that
And it is being updated as often as I can get them through.
Fantastic. So, thank you so much, Brittney, for sharing your expertise. And I really appreciate you jumping in on this podcast that we did very little preparation for. And so, so I definitely appreciate your willingness to just take these questions that I've been throwing at you.
Flexibility.
Right.
My body may not be able to do it as well, but here we go.
Right. And it's always interesting. There's always something that's going to come out that's wonderful.
Yes. And there, if you can find it, there is a video of me being very trip flexible that is now on the interwebs. Thank you,
right.
Avixa.
Keep a lookout for that.
Oh, it's out there. It's
So to everyone who's listening or watching this, I hope this conversation has inspired you to look at your own work through a systems lens, whether it's that one occurring challenge that always seems to trip up your team or a process that could be streamlined to save everyone some time and frustration. Remember that positive, repeatable habits really do generate long-term success for both you and the people that you work with. So next month, I'll be diving into October's theme, Road Work Ahead, Handling Failure, with another amazing HETMA leader. So stay subscribed and as we continue to explore what makes our community so strong. Until then, keep building those positive habits, keep refining your processes, and remember the highway of success is paved with systems that work for everyone. I'm Erin Maher-Moran, and this has been HETMA Presents Chair to Chair. Thanks for listening.